Good morning, everybody. This is Word of a Rebel, and today we are going to talk about defeating your internal no and embracing and committing to the puzzle of yes. Let's talk about what both of those mean. So the internal no is basically a natural habit that a lot of people have of immediately telling themselves, no, it can't happen. Before society gets to say anything, before, your friend or, family member gets to say anything, you done already convinced yourself that it's not possible. I call that the internal no. And the reason why you have to defeat it, the reason it's so vitally important, is because that no will stop you from even trying. That's the no that really defeats people, because you can develop like a resistance to hearing external no's, especially if the person that's always telling you, nah, that can't happen. If it's a habit of theirs, they often say that, their no starts to lose importance. But the thing about the internal no is that it never seems to really lose importance because you trust it, because it's inside of you, right? So you have to retrain that voice. So let's first of all break down how the internal no works. So basically you come up with this idea, or you hear about this particular thing that you can do. Maybe it's getting a certification, or it's taking a particular trip. Perhaps it's a bigger goal, such as opening up a franchise of a business or opening up your own business. Maybe it's about going for a new job opportunity. Maybe the job opportunity is in a different city. Or maybe it's in a different industry than you've ever worked in before. And so in all of these situations, you've got a goal in mind. You've got this idea about something exciting for you. And you're like, yes, I want to do this. I want to make this happen, right? And then before you can even finish thinking about what that goal might be and what it might feel like, you've already told yourself that you can't do it. The reasons why have come up to you. Most commonly, the reasons are time and money. Most people are like, oh, that's going to be too expensive, or I'm just never going to have enough time for it. Here's the thing. Everything costs money and everything takes time. It doesn't matter what it is. That includes staying exactly where you are. That takes time. Did you think about that? That takes time and money. And also, it takes mental dollars, because if you're not currently happy with your life, if you're stressed, or if you just feel like you're missing out and you don't feel like you're making the most of the time that you have here, it is wearing thin on your mentality. And it does cost what I call mental dollars. So whenever your brain goes for that internal no and says, well, it's going to cost too much time or money, you need to remind yourself that you're already spending that time and spending that money. So it's not a matter of the cost. It's a matter of priorities. How are you prioritizing your time and your money? So this conversation today, for today's episode, was actually sparked by an event that I host called Coffee and Cues with a Real Estate Agent, because I actually am also a real estate agent and a real estate investor, in addition to being an artist and an activist and having my own small business on the side. So how do I manage all of these things? Well, you have to understand, I defeated my internal no a long time ago. I don't even remember at what point I defeated it. Now, don't get me wrong. I still hear the internal no. We all hear it. I don't think I know anybody who doesn't hear a no inside of them. But you can defeat it. And that's the thing. I've learned how a long time ago to defeat my internal no. In fact, I recall an early example of this being in third grade. We were supposed to be putting on a class play, and I had decided I knew what role I wanted in this class play. Well, there were two major roles that the girls could have, and I got the one I didn't want. It was still a major role, but I didn't want it. And I had decided, no, I'm going to have the one I want. And nobody was going to tell me different. I did end up getting the role that I want. And I don't know where that came from, but there was definitely this decision inside myself that nobody was going to take away the experience I wanted to have. So, was that right or wrong? I don't know. Maybe it was wrong. I was 8. I don't know. I didn't care at the time. But the point is, of the story, is that it was an example of defeating the internal no. Like, it was saying, oh, okay, that might be, it might not be fair. Maybe you shouldn't try. Somebody else got the part. But then my defeating of my internal no was, well, what if she doesn't really want the role? What if she would prefer to be something else? That's where my conversation went. And so I said, well, I might as well try. And that's where you have to at least get yourself to, is the might as well try. And I can hear somebody out there right now is saying, yeah, but I don't want to waste my time on an attempt to do something that's impossible. And I hear you, but you're wrong. The reason that you're wrong is that basically nothing is impossible. There's just, you have to find ways of getting it done. Now, if something is illegal, I do not advise or condone that you participate in such activities. If that is the reason why you feel that it's impossible, you should not go forward. I don't want to see nobody losing their freedom and going to jail if it can be avoided. So no, if it's, but on the other hand, if it's not involving anything illegal, if you ain't hurting nobody, it basically means it's possible. The thing is that it might not be possible in an immediate time frame. Now that may be true. It may be something that, it might take somebody else 1 year to do. It might take you 3 years to do it. It might take somebody else 5 years to do it, because everybody's situation is different. So let's look at an example to kind of talk about what I mean by that. Let's say, for example, you've got 3 people who all have a goal of opening the exact same type of business. One of them already has experience in that line of work. They already have some money saved up. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to not get run over. I use hands-free, and I'm going to give y'all real live reports on this stuff. So basically, I was at a red light just now, and the reason why I paused in the middle of my statement is that somebody was obviously about to run the red light. Fortunately for me, I'm a smart enough driver to know don't jump out until you confirm that the person who now is supposed to stop is actually stopping. So that's why I stopped speaking, because I was waiting to make sure he was actually going to stop. He stopped about 4 feet after he was supposed to, and he was in front of my vehicle. So, hey, safety first, right? Y'all, please keep y'all attention on everybody else on the roadway, because even if you're a good driver, it doesn't mean that they are. There's plenty of fools out here. Nevertheless, back to the conversation at hand. Like I was saying, so the first person has experience in the field. They've already got some money set aside. They've already started on their business plan. So obviously for them, they have fewer hurdles in place. Whereas the second person has never worked in the field, but they really enjoy it. And they have experience in that field by virtue of either their family or their culture. And so they have a knowledge of it, a working knowledge of it, but they don't really know how to turn it into a business. And they don't really know how businesses in that line of work actually function. So they need more time, obviously. The third person has the experience in the work, but doesn't really understand their customer base, and they don't really understand the market that they're living in, and like choosing where to put the business or how to operate it. So they're going to need some more time as well than the first person, but they don't need as much time as the second one, because the second one, as we notice, is starting from almost scratch in the field of choice. So obviously each of them has their own version of hurdles, and it's going to have to put together a plan in order to try to achieve this goal. The point is, all 3 of them can do it. It's just going to take a different time frame. So the question is, are you willing to invest that time? Because one way or the other, if God gives you these years, you're going to be here. You're going to have that time. How are you going to spend it? Because once again, people want to say all the time, well, it's going to cost too much time. Well, you're going to be spending that time anyway, one way or the other. The question is just how you're going to spend that time. So if you're willing to spend the time on the goal, then go for it. If not, then stop thinking about it, because it's not really your goal. It's just this dream that you have, this idea that you like fantasizing about. You like daydreaming about it. That's cute. That's cute. Keep on dreaming, but you're never going to live it. So stop telling people that you want to do the thing if really you're not willing to invest your time and your money on it. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, if you really want to do a thing, you need to defeat the internal no. First of all, you have to decide if you really want it, which requires deciding if you're willing to spend your time and money on the goal, whatever it might be. And remember, it's not only business. This could be something like I mentioned, taking a very particular trip, because some people have goals for, spending money on something like that, having an experience. Or maybe you need to purchase a new car, maybe a better car, maybe a safer car, so that you can have fewer concerns related to transportation. Those things also require that you have sacrifice, because you may have to work more time. You may have to take on a side hustle of some sort in order to afford that experience that you want, right? And so even for those smaller goals, you have to defeat the internal no. Let's say, for example, you've decided that you want to visit Japan. Okay? So you know how much it's going to cost you. Let's say, I'm just going to throw a number out there. Let's say $3,000. That's between the plane ticket and the food and hotel costs while you're out there, right? A lot of people won't even get to that point of making a budget. They'll just automatically assume, oh, it's impossible. I will never do such things. I will never get my passport, and I'll never afford it. Yeah, you will, whatever. You have to decide, once again, you have to decide, what are you going to spend your time and money on? So this may mean that you're going to have to redo your budget. You're going to have to evaluate some things in your budget and make some decisions so that you can save money for that trip. Can you imagine if next year, whatever that trip is that you have in your mind, that you were able to take it? Because it is possible. Don't get it twisted, people. It is possible. And if you're looking for information on how to cut your budget and to save money, I've got plenty of episodes on iTunes, Spotify, and Anchor that talk about streamlining your budget. Look at my Make It Green 2019 series and several others called Credit Education. Anything that deals with like financial freedom, those episodes talk about how to streamline your budget. And whatever the goal is, like I said, whether it be a trip or a new car or a business or stock investment, whatever the case may be, maybe even a college fund, all of these things are possible. And if you're just looking for tips on how to streamline your budget, go ahead and check out the Make It Green 2019 and my financial episodes. Remember, Word of a Rebel. You search for Word of a Rebel, whatever platform you're listening to me on, whether it be iTunes, Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, whatever the case may be. Look for the Make It Green 2019 our financial conversations at Word of a Rebel. If you're having a hard time locating the episodes, I don't mind, hit me up. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Send me a message. Hey, I'm looking for the information on the economic episodes that you have or the financial episodes that you have. I don't mind sending you a message and telling you how to find them. I don't mind at all, because I want you guys to have access to the information, and I want you to share the information. Also, please share my podcast episodes. Please share them, because you do know somebody who needs this information. Whether or not you need the information, maybe this is something you already know, but there's somebody that you know who isn't aware, who isn't applying these types of strategies and whatnot. My goal is to encourage and inform and inspire people. And once again, whenever I give you advice, it's not something I have not already tried or that I'm not currently trying. It's going to be one of the two. Either I've already tried it or I'm currently trying it. So this episode is all about defeating the internal no and finding the yes puzzle, committing to the yes puzzle. So why do I call it a yes puzzle? Because I still haven't really explained that part of it. The reason I call it a yes puzzle is because as you're developing your plan, it's kind of like putting the pieces of a puzzle together, or basically establishing a map, creating a map to get to where it is that you're going. So you're basically solving the puzzle of achieving your goal. That's the yes puzzle. You have to commit to the yes puzzle. Just like any puzzle, it's going to take some focus. It's going to take some time investment to figure it out. But the question is only, Do you want it? Do you want the goal? Because they are all possible. So you need to focus on, how do I get to the yes? Because you're looking at the pieces of the puzzle, and for some of you, it looks like a 20-piece puzzle, and for other people, it looks like a 100-piece puzzle, and somebody out there is like, oh my God, it's going to be a 1,000-piece puzzle. How will I ever accomplish it? Once again, first of all, you don't even know how many pieces to your puzzle there are. A lot of y'all gonna overestimate. Y'all gonna be like, that's that internal no. It's like, oh no, you can't solve the yes puzzle. That's not for you. You're not good enough. You don't have the resources. You got all these hurdles. You can't figure it out. So you're overestimating how many pieces it's gonna take. But regardless of how many pieces it takes, whether it's 10, 20, or 100, the thing is that you have to go ahead and start looking at the pieces, organize the pieces, and figure out how to solve it and create the yes. Because if you've ever done a puzzle before, you know that a lot of people have a strategy where they either start in the middle or they start on the corners, right? So people usually separate their corners and their edges from their middle pieces, and they start looking for patterns where things connect, and they build it out. That is the strategy. You want to find the sections of the puzzle that look like they connect to each other. You have to identify the pieces first, figure out where they connect, organize them, arrange it, and create your puzzle map. It is your yes puzzle. You have to commit to the yes puzzle. Solve, put the pieces, and make it happen. Once again, this has been Word of a Rebel. I hope that I have encouraged you today as you pursue your goals, whatever they may be, whether small or large. You can start with a small one. It could be a way of establishing this habit. You can start small and committing to a small yes puzzle. Whatever the case may be. Hit me up at Word of a Rebel. Tell me, what is your yes puzzle leading you to? Hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Word of a Rebel. Where is your yes puzzle taking you?